Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Hari Om. Yesterday we were reading Call of the Devotee. It started with Papa telling a letter received from Dastunji about his ill health. Next, it was read out to Puja Mataji. Next day, Mataji replied, "What are you doing?" So Papa said, "You send a telegram." Then Mataji reminded him that how earnest he is when he wanted you to be in Bombay. Now the time, suppose you go and bless him, that would be better. So the mother in her counted him from Papa was doing, later on we found he was doing the churning business. Immediately he started. So the one is that we should respond. One is that we should become receptive to the demands and sufferings of the people in and around us. Second thing is ready to serve attitude. Third is to total disregard about our comforts. He just went, with only a copy, line clothes, that is. And then another point is
three kinds of devotees. Three kinds of people.
That is
Madhvam.
That is when he went to Bombay, somebody asked him one day, why do some people not aspire for God, and even if they do so, why they are not in a position to fix their minds on Him? So instead of directly replying, Papa quoted Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's oft-quoted words, where there are three types of devotees. One is called mudworm, the other one is called housefly, and third is called the honeybee. That means to what extent we have prioritized in our life. Indulging in all sense pleasures, we will not know that there is something higher than this. The next category is that we know, we have some idea. So at times we indulge, get into it. At times we also go to satsang, try to understand the purpose of life, try to know something about the higher form of life, etc. And the third one is exclusively, they are very clear about it. So by this, Papa answered this lady, but we should know why. It won't be uniform. Everybody will not be like that. It will vary from case because they are not prioritized. And the next one, no, next one is okay, the peacock. That means when the intoxication, when we chant God's name, when we are immersed in any type of spiritual discipline, if it has touched and brought out the sweetness of it, we will again crave for it. Bringing the peacock and opium, he says that we must try. We must try. I am the peacock. Then he says about
Salvation. You yourself.
Salvation. So before that he says Kunti Devi. That yesterday normally people ask for peace of mind, prosperity, this and success. But here Papa brings out Kunti Devi's words. Because it is during the times of suffering that we remember him. As soon as the suffering we have got over, we tend to forget. So Kunti Devi requested him to bless him with suffering so that she will be remembering. This is another food for thought. Not that we will crave for suffering, but when suffering comes, we should know God is putting us on a test to remember. If everything is going on well, we will not bother about God. Only when there is a problem, when there is a stressful period, then only we remember Him. Actually, we will not elaborate about it. And the third one is about the lubricant of the mind. Ramnam is the lubricant of the mind. That means all the rough materials, that are there, which is causing disturbance, it goes with the lubricant oil. So here Ramnam is the lubricant oil. That means while chanting Ramnam, we should also bring this dimension within us. That it is to serve as lubricant, meaning making everything soft, smooth and soft. Nothing else should bother us while chanting. We should be free from all attachment, bias, attitude, prejudices, all down-pulling forces. Then only the Ramnam will become effective. Then Ramnam serves when we try to replace Ramnam in the place of those down-pulling forces. The passage to divinity, the passage to the Almighty Lord of the universe becomes smooth. He also touched upon whenever we handle anything, we should not be from the personal standpoint. Normally we start with a more personal stand. Papa says clearly that we have to rise a little higher, cosmic stand. There is a purpose behind everything. The so-called good, so-called bad, so-called favorable, so-called unfavorable, everything has got a place in the scheme of things. So he says, these problems must not be viewed by themselves alone. Whenever we look upon any problem relating either to an individual in particular or to mankind in general, we should do so in its proper setting against the background of a cosmic scheme. These problems must not be viewed by themselves alone. There should be a purpose, there should be a purpose, there should be a purpose. We must keep on reminding ourselves. And in one of the Satsang, Papa said the purpose of life is, the first duty of everyone is to understand the significance of the teaching, know thyself. Origin of ours. Then he touches about the damage done by possessiveness. Even a person who has renounced everything and later on became a Mahant of an institution, even during his last moments, he was holding on to the keys. Though we cannot say that it is for selfish purpose, but still it is a hindrance. Even though we may be handling others with the feeling that it is others, still we should see that it should not possess us. That was the gentle warning given to all of us. We may be selfless, no doubt. We are trustees. But even then, the possessiveness should not influence us. Otherwise, that also becomes a hurdle in the final merging. Then Ganga Mai, no, Shabri Mai, the height of bhakti, height of bhakti. Then when asked about salvation, suddenly he reminded, no, you are that, what are you searching for? Even if it is told to us, we may not be able to understand. But then why did Papa say so? Because that is the truth. Unless this truth is hammered, no, it will not have any dent. We may just hear and go. But when it is repeatedly given to us, slowly we start realizing. And this is told by a person who has scaled the heights, not by somebody else. Here, why should you? Ramdas is always amused when people ask such question. You are he, yourself, and you ask the way to salvation. It is not your Leela. And yesterday we were referring to the 4 Mahavakyas. That is the quintessence of spirituality. Ayamatma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahma. Merely repeating may not help us. But whenever the mind is sattvic, whenever the mind is tuned to that, suppose we start plunging into it, contemplating upon it, something of it might be relieved, something of it might be made known to us. Some clues we may get. And he also said, though Ramnam is sufficient, while repeating Ramnam, you should know you are chanting. Whose name you are chanting is your own real being. Ram dwells within you, you are his temple. This is another dimension for people like us to remember. This is not merely Ramnam chanting. Papa said, Motherji said, no, it's not like that. Ramnam chanting is to remind us about that we are that. We remove everything, only exclusively we think about this. And about the world being unreal, normally that is shared here. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Jagat is not Mithya. If we pinch it, pains then. So it is only thing is whether it is transient, it is always subject to changes. And the creation is the one which makes us aware of the Creator. If the creation is not there, we may not have any clue. Who will be having, who will be striving to know the Creator? Just think about it. If there is only Creator, how will the Creator make himself known? So he needs creation. Because only through creation we can know the Creator. So the Jagat is not Mithya. It is also a projection of his. Emotional outbursts will not help much. That was another point. So we reached there. Glances toward whenever the train halted at a station. Ramdas had marked the strange behavior of the young man. When the train was nearing Swarapur, Ramdas wanted to know. wanted to know the cause of his fear, called him to his side, asked him what the matter was. The youth replied, I am proceeding to Bombay for a job. Having no money for the railway fare, I have ventured to travel without a ticket, and I am anxious not to be caught. I am terribly afraid of the railway officers. It was a touching tale. God willed that Ramdas should provide him with a ticket from Sholapur station to travel. When the ticket was placed in his hands, his erstwhile careworn and haggard face now reflected immense relief, with which were also mingled feelings of gratitude. Almost all devotees from different villages in Sholapur district had gathered together to receive Ramdas at the railway station. Among them was Rabadur R.S. Page, retired superintendent of police, a new friend whom Ramdas met here for the first time. Ramdas was taken by Rabadur Page to his fine bungalow. He and his wife welcomed him and treated him with great hospitality. Ramdas stopped with him only for the night. Early next morning, he left with the devotees for Uple Damala, promising Page that he would spend some days with him on his return from the tour of the villages. So here now the Papa gently reminds us that about the ticketless travel. We should be sensitive to these sufferings. Suppose we close our eyes, nowadays we sit with our mobile. Unknowingly we are trying to distance ourselves from the rest of the people. Otherwise we will be looking at somebody, no? We will be watching something, observing something, who needs something. So spirituality means, not only that we are having our spiritual discipline, but also to become sensitive to the sufferings or needs of the others. To the extent possible, we will help. If nothing is possible, at least a soothing word. Some days back, we shared one incident here. Probably many of you would have forgotten. A person who was in great distress, somehow became an addict of alcohol. With the result, he lost money, he lost savings, he lost everything. Mounting liabilities were there. Mounting liabilities which he cannot. So, when the creditors started pestering him, he gave them checks. Nowadays, you know that when you give a check, if it is dishonored, the person can straight away go to the police station. So this he asked his wife to sign. He knew that the date is approaching. So with a very heavy heart, he was traveling from one place to another place. Suddenly, the person who is sitting very near in the bus, of a different faith, he looked at him and told him, "You seem to be restless. What happened?" Then he said, "You will not be able to solve. Then what is the use of my telling? You tell me, please." Then he explained the whole thing, that one check is now due, I think in a couple of days' time. It has been given my wife. I don't have any work with her to honor it. And she will be taken to the police station. I am responsible for the entire episode. I don't get any answer. His intention was to get down near a river and jump into it. See, that he did not reveal. So the person who was hearing it, he said, "Who is your creditor?" So he was amused. Why should he ask all these questions? Anyway, he told him name. Immediately he gave a telephone number and told him to get down at the next bus stand, go to the mosque there and show to the person in charge to contact. He couldn't make two and two together. But the way in which he said, it was coming from the bottom of the heart. So he got down, saw the mask there, went to the person, gave this chip to him. Immediately he got up. What do you want? He explained everything to him. He immediately telephoned. So he said, ask him to come now. So the person to whom he owes, he was telephoned, said so and so has asked you to come. Immediately in 10-15 minutes he took his vehicle and came to the mosque. Then he talked to him. Does our religion permit ladies to be prosecuted? Where from you got this idea? So he said, I did not know. Something he said, okay now, solve this problem. Don't drag them anywhere in it. So finally he said, he has brought the check. Luckily the check was torn into pieces. You give to me whenever it is possible. He went. That person was explaining to us, he was in tears, how God comes to the help. But now when we read this, we understand that when a fellow traveler is passing through severe stress, God is reminding, but we are reminded that as a sense of individuality, we should also be sensitive. If we are to ourselves, how will we know? Suppose the other person was reading something or spending time in the mobile. This had happened 2 years back or 3 years back. It was a very touching incident. And later on he managed to get time from them, and then finally he settled the due or the dues. Everything became all right. But at that particular moment, if it had not happened, just imagine what all would have happened to the family. So here, when Papa was traveling, he saw the face of other one who is restless. So he said, this is the purpose of reading. What is it that I take home when I go back? So now we will proceed to Uple the Mala. Ramdas's stay at Uple the Mala was arranged at the house of so and so, so and so. Krishnaji gave a feast to all the residents in the village. There might have been more than 1,500. Wow. All these were people of all castes, including Harijans. Ramdas was simply thrilled. When Ramdas was taken for the midday meal and rushed to somebody's house, those put him a question. Is it possible to practice compassion, Dudadaya, always? Ramdas replied, true compassion is born of selflessness, an expression of which is self-sacrifice. Here Ramdas related the following Puranic story. Soon after the end of the Mahabharata war, Yudhishthira performed the Rajasuya Yajna, to which he invited sages, saints, kings, Brahmins, poor people residing throughout his empire. The celebration was on a grand scale. At the termination of the Yajna, thousands of people assembled for the occasion were sumptuously fed. Lord Krishna himself took part in serving good food to the guests and also in removing the leaves on which meals were taken. Suddenly a mongoose that had half its body shining like gold appeared and started rolling on the leaves, left after the meals row after row. Both Yudhishthira and Krishna witnessed this strange scene. Yudhishthira, out of curiosity, asked Krishna if you could throw light on the curious behavior of the mongoose. Krishna asked the king to get the reason for its contact from the mongoose itself, which was endowed with the power of speech by Krishna. Yudhishthira called the mongoose to his side and inquired why it was rolling on the leaves. The mongoose replied, once in the place where I lived, there occurred a severe famine. People were dying of starvation. I was hiding in the house of a poor, honest, kind-hearted devotee of God, who lived with his wife and son. The family too had no food for several days, and they were on the verge of death. In this critical condition, a man entered the house with a pot of rice, placing it before the dying family, disappeared. With great difficulty, the three raised themselves up, dividing the food in three parts, were about to take it. Now a man famished through extreme starvation, while passing by the house, saw the food and came tottering in. He begged in a most appealing tone that some food be given to them also. Father at once passed on his share of the food to him. The other two, seeing this act of the father, sat silently watching. The man finished what was given to him, and looking hungrily at the food before the other two members of the family, how I wish I could get one more share. At once the mother gave away his share. Even after taking this, man's hunger was not appeased. He looked covetously at the remaining portion of the food. This was also cheerfully given away by the son. The man having had his fill departed. Then the father, mother, son fell down unconscious, expired. I was both amazed and delighted to witness this scene of a rare and wonderful act of self-sacrifice. I saw some grains on the rice, remnants of the meal on the floor. I went up to the spot, rolled on it, when lo, as a result, half my body turned lustrous like gold. From that time onward, my one ambition has been to get the other half of the body also similarly transformed by the touch of such sacred particles. I have gone all over the world whenever great feasts have been held by philanthropic persons and rolled my body on the leavings of the food. But to my disappointment, I have failed to gain any object. I heard that you, the great Yudhishthira, famous on earth as an ideal man of righteousness and generosity, were performing a great yajna and would be feeding millions of people. I felt elated with the hope that now at long last my long-cherished desire would be fulfilled. You saw how I rolled on the remnants of the food served here, but alas, nothing has happened. Yudhishthira, who heard his story from the lips of the mongoose, hung down his head in shame, for when the feeding was going on, he had become proud of it and felt that there was no other person in the world as great as he. When this was noticed by the omniscient Lord Krishna, he taught his disciple a lesson by enacting this play of the mongoose. So the hidden clue Papa conveys to us not only that we should try to do as much as possible charitable activities, but always at the same time never allow the pride to creep in. Then the purpose will not be served. Elsewhere Papa used to say, here also you will come. Elsewhere he will say, when an opportunity is given, we don't have any suffix or prefix. We just act and keep quiet, that's all. You will find one such incident in here. At Tupale-Damala, Ramdas had to visit a number of houses daily, where he was welcomed with open arms. Sometimes he had to run from one house to another in order to satisfy as many devotees as possible during the day. Also, in response to an invitation from the Harijans of the place, he went once to their colony along with the devotees of higher caste. There all these devotees freely mingled with one another. He was invited to the house of a Muslim who did Pad Puja in the Hindu style in which the Brahmins of the place assisted him. Here also Ramdas delivered the speech in Hindi on the goal of life. The meeting was arranged by the devotee of the place. Ramdas said, man's goal is happiness. He thinks at first that he will get it by amassing wealth, name, fame. But by experience he soon learns that he is going the wrong way. This disappointment leads him to saints who have found the source of immortal happiness. It is by accepting their guidance that the aspirant discovers the true path and following it attains the goal. Just as a man who wishes to go to Kashi would get instructions about the way and the journey from one who has actually visited the holy city, so also the struggling aspirant has to look to saints for instructions. Saints are the beacons that point to the right path, leading to the ultimate state of absolute joy and peace, which is really inexpressible. When the soul of man is completely immersed in the sea of bliss, he feels at times that he is veritably that sea itself and lives, moves and has his being in the divine existence. He now feels the presence of his beloved every instant of his life. He beholds him everywhere. When he reaches this stage, he is said to have attained what is described in the Shastras as Sahaj Samadhi. Ekadashi, the 11th day of the Hindu month, is considered by Hindus as sacred day. This day is devoted by a true Vaishnava to the worship and remembrance of God, accompanied by fast. The villagers among whom Ramdas now lived were all devotees of this time and used to observe this day in the above manner. On the Dwadashi day, when Ramdas was taking his bath, he came to know that a devotee in the village was crying because Ramdas did not visit his house that day during his morning rounds. He had wanted to break his fast only after having Ramdas' darshan in his cottage. Finishing his bath quickly, Ramdas ran to the house of his devotee, who was overjoyed at Ramdas' sudden appearance. Ramdas received his offering and returned. Nobody is unimportant, nobody is insignificant, nobody is irrelevant. No? Otherwise, we may have our own reason. Yesterday it was a full day, busy day, hectic day, I couldn't do this, I can't do it now, something like that. But here, because everybody is a form of God, which fact which has been realized with Papa, he could understand that nobody is irrelevant, nobody is unimportant, nobody is insignificant. That is why he ran up. Here Ramdas met Prem Singh again. This time also Prem Singh came without leave, as he had done on the last occasion. Probably a mention was made in the vision of God. Last time he was with Ramdas for nearly a month. But on his return to duty, he was neither dismissed nor even reprimanded for his absence without leave for such a long time. This time Ramdas sent him back the very next day after his arrival, saying one should not cast too heavy burden on God. Last time God helped you. Prem Singh was a gifted singer who knew Brahmanand's bhajan. He sang them with a most melodious voice. One remarkable event that happened here, as given out by the devotees, was that the food that was prepared only for a limited number sufficed for a much larger number of people who came to dine, leaving a surplus too. Another noteworthy feature was that whenever Ramdas was leaving one village for another, villagers, especially the devotees in the house in which he had lived, would start crying like children. Ramdas has gone over many places in India and witnessed the varied expressions of pure love overflowing the hearts of devotees. But what he saw was simply unique. It was a flood of purest emotion in which Ramdas was carried away, filled with an indescribable ecstasy. These simple country folk, unable to bear their separation from him, would follow him to the next village, giving up all thought of home and belongings. They were simply drawn away by a force which they did not seek to understand, but which they obeyed in a spirit of perfect self-abandon. The intellect is not working there. They are not worried why they are doing it, but they are responding to the call of the feelings. This is another clue for all of us. Blessed indeed is Sholapur, blessed is Maharashtra, blessed is India, nay, blessed is the earth where devotion fills the yearning of devotees, hearts of devotees with the splendor of such pure sentiments. Another interesting incident occurred at Ambe Javalji, a devotee Ramakrishna Hari, who got deeply attached to Ramdas during his last tour in Sholapur district, was somehow mysteriously led to the bus stand, where Ramdas got down from a bus. Ramakrishna Hari was not aware of Ramdas's trip to Sholapur. Naturally, he was overjoyed to see Ramdas. For some time he was unable to speak due to excitement. When he started speaking, he could do so at first only in monosyllables. He followed Ramdas to Yavali, the next place of heart. In Yavali, one Madhurao, who was very learned in Shastra, asked Ramdas why, in spite of his vast reading and of religious literature, his mind was still restless. Ramdas, speaking in Hindi, told him that mere reading of scriptures was of little avail, but that one should try to put the teaching into practice. The sadhana consisted in remembering God by taking His name, so that one could easily surrender to Him. When the mind thought of God, the omnipresent reality, egoism automatically disappeared, and along with it all vasanas. Then the mind became calm, serene, peaceful. Here Ramdas compared the human body to a flute, which is clogged with the dirt of the ego and desires. If you called upon Lord Krishna to take it and play on his celestial music, he would not do so. When you removed the foreign material that clogged the human flute and made it clean and hollow by means of constant repetition of his all-powerful name, then Lord Krishna would take it up and play without even an invitation from you. So in the code of life, Papa points out that normally we all try to get peace of mind. We think that that can be got by acquiring, possessing, indulging external things. But our own life has shown us that though initially there is a charm in it, we lose it. And that finally, when we are led to a spiritual preceptor, he slowly takes us and makes us to turn towards the repository of all that is good and great in us. Think about it. This is a food for thought. Whenever the craving comes, whenever a desire sprouts, if these words come, probably it might help. This is not going to solve. This is not going to give me a sense of fullness, a sense of satisfaction, a sense of contentment. But no doubt, I will strive for it. Till I strive, nothing else occupies my mind. But the moment it is accomplished, within a few minutes or within a few hours, the charm is gone. Again we think about something else which will bother, either to protect it or to keep it. So this is something we have to take note of. Meaning of Kaliya Mardan. Ramdas put the same truth in another way by referring to the episode of Kaliya in Krishna's life. The river Yamuna was the mind, and the six-headed serpent Kaliya was the ego filled with the six evil qualities. Kama, Krodha, Dhamma, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Kaliya, the ego, had poisoned the waters of Yamuna, the mind. The cows, the sattvic qualities, were almost dying by the effect of this poisoned water. In this state, how can the helpless individual be redeemed? He sends forth an ardent cry to Lord Krishna to enter into his mind, kill the six-hooded ego serpent, purify the waters of the mind, revive the cows, the sattvic qualities. So to be free from the clutches of the ego, the aspirant should call upon the Lord to come to his rescue. This was the most natural, easy and simple way. So when we read Puranic stories, Papa is now asking us to see the real theme behind it. Otherwise, what had happened during Krishna's time, in what way it is going to help us? So the purpose of going through Puranic stories is to not only to know the glories of the avatar, but also to do some contemplation and see to what extent it can be actualized in our life. It is not easy. It will be difficult. But still, the Puranic story assures us that when there is an ardent prayer from the heart, God will respond. Some devotees complained to Ramdas that in the midst of their worldly duties, they could not find time to think of God. Ramdas told them, this is not right. Think of yourself, how much time you waste in talking unnecessarily. If you keep a strict watch upon yourself, you will find that your actual working hours are only a few. You daily spend 8 to 10 hours in sleep, while you need only 6 hours. Besides, whenever you are free from work, you can keep your mind engaged in the remembrance of God and have His pure and glorious name on lips. Also, whenever you go from one village to another on foot, as you often do, you can chant the name as you walk along. If you only make up your mind, you can find ample time during the day to remember Him. It applies to all of us. Normally we complain, we are preoccupied with something else. Not that we want to avoid or evade. We were not knowing that we can use that time for this. So the moment we hear this, we start practicing. Again we may forget. That is why Papa, that beautiful word, that even the period ever so small. So in order that we try to remember Him through chanting during any pause moment that God gives us, in between our two occupations, in between our two involvements. Something for all of us to again think about. We know it, but we may not be doing it knowingly. Some people do it also. So every now and then, suppose we chant something about Rama, Krishna, or Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, something. It should become a practice. That's what Papa wants us to keep up that. At Mohol. Okay, that is enough. Let us see now what all we have covered. What all we have covered now? We started from Sholapur district.
Ticket.
Becoming sensitive. In other words, if it is me to me, you will not be able to. If it is me to we, we will become conscious of the various opportunities given to us by Him to extend whatever help we can to our fellow creations. It's a wonderful hint for all of us. Me to me will unknowingly deny us the opportunity given to us. Me to we will certainly facilitate us to reach out to me. That we can put it like that. And then
Self-sacrifice.
Huh?
Self-sacrifice, Yudhishthira.
Self-sacrifice. The story of Yudhishthira. God may give us so many opportunities to take up charitable activities. In ashram, even when the funds were not there, how Mataji took up, rose to the occasion of meeting the demands of the most deserving ones with no publicity. We all know that when asked why don't you make it public so that others will get inspired, Mataji shot back, what is there to say? It is He who provides. Suppose you are doing something for your son or child, will you publicize? No, that means absence of otherness. If you feel others as others, naturally you need all this publicity. And in that, this pride will slowly come. We remember one incident. There is a magazine called Wisdom in Chennai. A good magazine. We have to get. They give us regularly Ramnam also. Apart from sending their love offerings. So they have some norms to give some awards, So during 1 year, they selected our Sri Ramaswamy for this award. When they wrote, he immediately replied, there is nothing to be specially mentioned. Whatever our masters have provided, we are carrying on. That's all. To satisfy themselves, suppose we had gone to the award. Naturally, you give people will eulogize, praise, so many things will come. And unknowingly, it might creep also. But God blessed him even at that moment to write him straight away. And immediately the reply came from them. We appreciate. We appreciate the legacy of Papa Mother. So that again, we are trying to connect up. Tomorrow somebody else may say, you are doing this, you are doing that, but we have to ensure that it is Papa Mataji is grace and grace and grace alone that this ashram is being run in this manner. It is not because of anybody else, it is not because of any other factor. They have solid grace, which is inexhaustible, I should say. 92 years. Papa dropped the body in 63. 59 years are over. We are in the 60th year. Mataji dropped the body in 89. 33 years are over. No? Puja Swamiji dropped the body in 2008. 14 years are over. Still by their grace, the same legacy is being continued. So when we think about it, Puja Swamiji used to share of this same words. What are we doing and what were they doing? So at no point we will think that we are ashram is doing this or ashram is doing that. Because we remember the solid legacy Mataji had left by telling that only when you see others as others, all these things will come. And when all these things come, slowly the pride will, probably in a small form it may enter, then it will grow big. Then, and that it is very touching, when the mongoose explained, through mongoose the Lord explained the mental framework of the family, who sacrifice their share one by one. The moment we read this, what wells up in our mind, that is the power of the story. It might be from his own imagination, that is okay, but it still touches and kindles. And in a small way we can find many others are also doing during our own lifetime. Whatever they have kept it for themselves, they immediately pass it on to others when the need arises. So these are the ways by which the sattvic thoughts are touched, kindled and encouraged. And then, any other thing?
Nobody
is insignificant. Nobody is insignificant.
Nobody is insignificant. Nobody is. That was previous, no? Ekadashi, correct. Ekadashi. That's also a great thing. Nobody is insignificant, nobody is unimportant, nobody is irrelevant. Then Kaliyamardan. Mind is the Yamuna, Kaliya is the ego, and cows are the sattvic thoughts, and because of the Shadribhus poison the mind water, and when there is an ardent plea, appeal, prayer to the Lord comes in and he lays or tames the Kaliya.
Somebody told me many things. Shastras, these words. Really, first peace of mind.
Studied all Shastras but no peace of mind.
Correct. And what is purposely? Mere reading of scriptures was of little avail. That one should try to put the teaching into practice.
Not to give much burden to God.
Not to give much burden to God.
That is, somebody came without leave. For 1 month he was with Swapa. And when he went back, no disciplinary action was taken. So again when he came, Papa must have asked him, have you applied for leave? No, go back. Then he said, don't give too much pressure on God. That means gentle reminder for all of us to obey, to abide. We should be an Uttama citizen too. No? Not only an Uttama Bhakta, but Uttama citizen too. We should go along with what is the statute. There is a code of conduct everywhere. If I am working in the office, there is a code of conduct. If I am working for the society, there is a code of conduct. If I am spending my time in my family, there is a code of conduct, which I should not forget. Once in a way, there may be a slip out of our love for God, but second time we should not. You remember the policeman who violated all rules to put Papa back. So, because there, he was reminded, the word he used was conscience. These are when your conscience says, then no power on earth can stop it. Okay, these are all the things. There were so many points, though it may look like a travelogue again. Every page there is some point for all of us to think, to ponder. For the last so many days we have not been in the Google Meet. So tomorrow, though being Sunday, we will be back. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Pranam, pranam.
Pranam, Swamiji.
Pranam, pranam, pranam. Hari Om, oh, you have reached.